So Mona Lisa's patience is always recorded.
Yes,
Okay, now you start.
Okay.
Start, Mona Lisa. Oh, somehow connection is not there. So, okay, I am starting the invocation prayer. So please close your hands. So Mona Lisa has joined again. Mona Lisa, please don't take much time. Start it. No, I think some network problem. Okay, I'm requesting all of you, please close your hands. Om Shahana Bhavatu Shahano Gunaktu Shahabirjam Karubhavahai Tejashina Bodhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So now I am requesting Rosemall, please start your lecture now.
Yes, sir.
So who will start? Oh,
I
Anusri.
will start.
Okay. Okay, Anusri, please start.
Yes, sir. Please enable me.
Yeah, you're enabled.
Okay. Is it visible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. In the last class, something is happening here. Am I audible?
Yes, I know.
Yes. Okay. Okay. In the last class, you have learned about item, the difficulty value, item cat. Hello.
Yes, please you continue.
Yes, I have lost my connection. Okay. In the last class, you have learned about the item and the difficulty value and the item discrimination index. Now we will learn about the item characteristics curve and the measurement of the internal consistency of items in psychological instrument. Okay. The item characteristics curve is a graphic representation of the probability of giving the correct answer to an item as a function of the level of the attribute assessed by the test. In fact, ICC serves as a foundation of one of the most important theories, the item response theory or latent threat theory. You can only get the idea that latent threat theory, it is a model that aims to look beyond the test. It deals with the underlying threat which is producing the test. Okay. In case of the, for example, in the state and threat anxiety inventory, this is a psychological test, but the items within it, that is, I feel calm, I'm anxious, those are the underlying threat or the latent threat. So the item characteristics curve deals with the underlying threat or the items. So ICC is used to illustrate the discrimination power and item difficulty. The slope of the ICC conveys about the discriminating power of item, and the position of the ICC curve gives indication about the difficulty of each item. You can see here, there are two pictures. In the 4.1, it shows when item total correlation is positive, the slope of the ICC is positive. So the slope indicates the discrimination power of the item. And item total correlation, it is the correlation between each item and the total score of the items. This is the item total correlation. So when it will be positive, the slope of the ICC will be positive. You can see in the curve A, this is the positive curve. And when item total correlation is near zero, the slope is close to zero. You can see this is the B curve that is very close to the origin. And when item total correlation is negative, the slope of the ICC is negative. You can see the C curve that didn't arise from the origin. This is the negative curve. And in the picture 4.2, you can see the ICC for difficult items. It indicates the positions of the curves. The positions of the curve indicates the difficulty value or the difficulty level of the items. You can see here the ICC curve for easier items that rise from the left side. The curve that is easier, the item that is easier, that curve for this easiest item rise from the left side, and curve for the difficult item rise from the right side of the plot. So you can see here the slope of all of those curves are similar. Same. That means the discrimination power of these curves are same, but the difficulty value is different. So the positions of the curves are different. Is it clear?
Can you repeat the last part again?
Yes, in the picture 4.2, you can see that the positions of the curves are different, but the slope is same. The positions of the curve of ICC that indicates the difficulty levels of the items. So the curve that rises on the left side, that are the easiest items, and that rise from the right side, those are the difficult items, and the mid portion that are the moderate items. So you can see here in the picture 4.2 that the slope of those curves are same, because the discrimination power of those curves are same, but the difficulty values are different, so the positions of the curves are different. Clear?
Yes, thank you.
Now, Rose, please start.
Yeah. So today we're going to learn about internal consistency. So it is very important to know what is an item. And in the last class, we have seen what is an item, but we are going to deal with items with examples today. So item is basically the unit of behavior or construct. In a scale, we use items because they are the specific questions or problems that make up the test. So let's consider this with an example. Let's take an environmental attitude questionnaire, EA. In environmental attitude, in environmental attitude questionnaire, environmental attitude is the construct. And the items in environmental attitude is a unit of attitude. So that is about the explanation of item with example. Anu, next. In the case of attitudes, attitudes are not at all directly observable. So we use scales to measure it by directly observable responses. So in the case of direct self-report techniques such as scales or inventories, they are the most widely used methods for measuring environmental as well as pro-environmental attitude and behavior. So you might be confused what is environmental and pro-environmental attitude. We are going to explain it using examples. Next. Environmental attitude means it is defined as psychological tendency expressed by evaluative responses to the natural environment with some degree of favor or disfavor. So this is the operational definition of environmental attitude. So this is the construct. The construct comes in this way. And what it actually means is that the reactions or the tendency expressed by people towards the natural environment with a degree of favor or disfavor. So the expression can be favorable or disfavorable. So we are going to measure what is the environmental attitude of the person. Next. So it is very important to know what is pro-environmental attitude, because we are using pro-environmental attitude to understand this. Pro-environmental attitude questionnaire was developed by D.D. Roy in 2020, and this attitude refers to latent construct that comprise of 9 domains. That means this environmental attitude questionnaire has 9 domains, which includes the first one is cleanliness, second is safety, then sensitivity to environmental impact, perceived control, self-regulation, social support. And next, Anu, before please
Okay.
change. Okay. Environmental impact, perceived control, self-regulation, social support, reductionism, recycling, reuse, and conservation. And let's see what are these domains now. Next. So first one is about cleanliness. That is the first domain in the scale. That means to what extent the individual is feeling that the surrounding is clean, tidy, and free from the pollutants. Safety means to what extent the person use the practices or policies to ensure one's own well-being. And safety in an immediate environment. That means with respect to one's own well-being and safety. Next. The third one is sensitivity to environmental impact. So we are also giving you some examples related to the item. So in some of the domains, I have added some selected items here. They are the good items for your understanding. So in the case of sensitivity to environmental impact, we have to understand what this domain means. This means how the person reacts when the person is exposed to cleaning products, laundry detergents, cigarette smokes, pesticides, pest plants, etc. That is what this domain means. And the example of the item in this domain is, I think compassion towards animal is necessary. That is an item. I prefer using dustbins instead of littering on the street. That is an item. Now, so this comes in the sensitivity to environmental impact, which is a domain. Next one is perceived control. That means, Anu?
Yes.
That means to what level one can determine his own behavior. That means it is about bringing about favorable outcomes in the environment. Next. The another domain is social support. That means to what extent availability and assistance from other people help in improving the environment. So there is an example here. This is the item with respect to this particular domain, that plants and animals have as much right as humans to access. This is an item. Then recycling is the another domain. To what extent an individual is ready to convert waste materials into new materials and objects. So the example of this particular domain is recycling is hectic and inconvenient. Reuse is another domain. That means to what extent one wants to use and reuse. That means we tend to use a resource material again for some purpose or another purpose without changing the structure of the object. So the item in the scale with respect to this domain is, I am willing to change my lifestyle to reduce environmental damage. Next item is, I prefer materials that can be reused. Reductionism is the another domain. That means to what extent environmental reduction influence one's behavior. So the example of this domain in an item is segregation of waste materials is inconvenient. Next domain is conservation. That means to what extent one protects, prevents, or that how the person manage the natural environment and ecological communities. So the example of this particular domain with respect to the item is I intend to save natural resources whenever possible. I try to find ways to conserve power in daily life. Next. Now, let's understand about the scale. All the items are in the form of a 5-point Likert scale of scoring that range from 1 to 5. That means 1 is for strongly agree, 5 is for strongly disagree. So, in the Likert scale, Cronbach alpha is widespread as an estimate of internal consistency. Next. Let's move on to internal consistency. Is it clear from till here? Hello?
Yes,
I just have a clarification. So
Okay.
you mentioned that these certain things as domains. So is domains and dimension the same thing when we talk about a tool?
Yeah, that means the environmental attitude is the construct that comes and the sub dimensions are which we have explained here. Is that clear?
Okay, so here what you have referred to as domains are also the same as dimensions of factors. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Then we are moving on to internal consistency, which means what is a need to evaluate internal consistency of a psychological test, which means if a psychological questionnaire is to be sound, we have to test its internal consistency. So this reliability is defined as consistency of scores obtained by the same persons when they are re-examined with the same test on different occasions or with different sets of equivalent items or under variable examining conditions. So that is the definition of reliability, which means when they are re-examined with the same test on different occasions or with different sets of equivalent items or under variable examining conditions. Next. So we have to be familiar with what are the wide varieties to use to understand the internal consistency, what we can use to understand internal consistency reliability. So we generally use Cronbach's alpha and Kuda-Richardson formula to understand internal consistency. Cronbach's alpha, which means it is represented by alpha, that is the most frequent estimate of internal consistency of items in a scale. It was developed by Lee Cronbach in 1951 and it is used to assess the internal consistency of questionnaire items. Next. Cronbach's alpha, the value ranges from 0 to 1 and negative value, there is a chance of occurrence of negative value. So negative value occurs when the items are not at all positively correlated. In typical cases, alpha value of 0.65 to 0.80, it is considered satisfactory for a scale. So this is a thing which is very important. 0.665 to 0.80 is considered satisfactory. Then a positive correlation is assumed if the scale is measuring the same theoretical concept, there should be a positive correlation. But in the case of negative value, that indicates that the items are not at all positively correlated. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Anu?
Yes, understood. Okay. So in order to construct a psychological test, a sound one, the measurement of internal consistency is very important. You have learned that. Internal consistency of the items. So Cronbach's alpha is the most commonly used statistic to measure the internal consistency. In case of this particular questionnaire, that is the pro-environmental attitude questionnaire, there are 55 items. And now we will show that how to do this internal consistency, reliability, how to check the internal consistency reliability of this questionnaire. So we will know about the steps. What are the steps? First step is the item total correlation of the test. What is item total correlation? This is a measure of the reliability. It is the correlation between an individual item and the total score without that item. Okay. Next point is the measuring Cronbach's alpha. Third step is removing low consistent items on the basis of low item total correlation. And the fourth step is inter-item correlation of the items with high item total correlation of the test. And the fifth step is measuring Cronbach's alpha again. So I will proceed to the first step. The first step that implies that the item total correlation is a measure of reliability of a multi-item scale. It is the correlation between an individual item and the total score without that item. For example, if any test contains 20 items, there would be 20 item total correlation. For item 1, it would be correlation between item 1 and the sum of other 19 items. So we use generally the Pearson correlation coefficient for this item total correlation. Here is the example of just 3 items that are extracted from this 55 items. In that case, we can't show you the total 55 items. So just for the idea, I will show you the 3 items and their item total correlation coefficient and the p-values. You can check that in these 3 items, the item total correlations are 0.74, 0.60, 0.60, and the p-values indicates all of those are significant. But in case of this particular test, it was found that the 46 items are very good correlation coefficient, but 9 items have very low consistent items. Okay, for the next step, you have to find out the Cronbach's alpha. The formula for coefficient alpha is that alpha equal to k by k minus 1 into 1 minus summation limit is from y to k sigma I square by sigma total square. So k is the number of items. K indicates the number of items. Sigma I square indicates the calculations of the variance of each item and summing up of this. Any problem?
Ma'am, can you please explain from the first step?
From the first step.
Yeah, in the slide before this.
Okay. So for checking the internal consistency of items, we have to do the item total correlation. The item total correlation is the correlation between each item and the other items there. For example, if any test contains 20 items, there would be 20 item total correlation. For item 1, it would be correlation between item 1 and the sum of other 19 items. For item 2, it would be correlation between the item 2 and sum of other 19 items. Clear?
Okay.
And we use Pearson correlation coefficient for this item total correlation. And then this is the example of the items. I'm just showing you the 3 items, for example, and their item total correlations and the significance level of it. The next step is to find out the Cronbach's alpha. And the formula of it, alpha equal to k divided by k minus 1 into 1 minus summation sigma square. And here the limit tends to I to k. I will show you. And divided by sigma total square. So for the calculation of this Cronbach's alpha, you have to find out the variance of the individual item, and then you have to sum up those variances, and that will be the summation sigma square. Okay, you have to calculate variance of each item. variance of each item, then you have to sum up this, and the summation will be the summation sigma I square. And the sigma total square is the total. You have to do the total, you have to calculate the total score, and then you have to check the variance of this total score, and then you have to sum up. This is the sigma total square. May I repeat again? Hello? Is it clear, or I will repeat it?
Repeat it. Repeat.
Okay. The formula is k divided by k minus 1 into 1 minus summation sigma I square by sigma total square. K indicates number of items in the particular psychological test. And sigma square, summation sigma square indicates variances. Variance means the scatters of the scores. Scattering of the scores from the mean, that is variance. You can find out by squaring the standard deviation. You know it. So we have to find out the variance of each item, then we have to sum up it. And the summation will be the summation sigma I square. Clear?
Yes, yeah.
Yes, and for the calculation of total score variance, the total score of individual items needs to be calculated, and then their variance will give the total score variance. That is the sigma total square. Clear?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So in case of this particular question here, for measuring the internal consistency, item total correlation and Cronbach's alpha of 55 items were done. And alpha was found to be 0.85. And the item total correlation reveals that 9 items were found to be poorly consistent with total score. So what is our function? We have to delete those items which are poorly consistent, right?
Yes.
In order to increase the Cronbach's alpha, in order to increase the internal consistency of the items. So I'm showing the example of this item total correlation coefficient of this 9 items, which are very poorly consistent. You can find out that the correlation coefficient is very poor, that is 0.08, 0.13, 0.09. None of these are about 0.5. All of those are very poorly consistent. That is 0.08, 0.13, 0.11, like this. So those are very poorly consistent. So we have to remove those items. So step 3 is these 9 items were removed due to low internal consistency. Again, internal consistency was re-examined for remaining 46 items. So in case of this particular questionnaire, pro-environmental attitude questionnaire, there were 55 items at first. Then we have done the item total correlation and measures the Cronbach's alpha. So item total correlation reveals there are 9 items that are very poorly consistent. So we remove those items in order to increase the internal consistency, so that we re-examine the Cronbach's alpha, and it shows the increment in alpha from 0.85 to 0.88. Clear after this?
Yes.
Okay. Among these 46 items, there are 10 items that showed high item total correlation, which signifies items are so well constructed. So we are getting 46 items after removing those 9 items which are poorly consistent. And among these 46 items, we have found 10 items that are very highly consistent, very high item total correlation. So for that reason, we have to check the inter-item correlation of these 10 items, which are very highly consistent. So the step 4 is inter-item correlation was done of these 10 items in order to check within item correlation of these 10 items. An inter-item correlation indicates the extent to which scores on one item are related to scores on all other items in a test. Here are the inter-item correlation of these 10 items. You can see this is the inter-item correlation of these 10 items, which have very high item total correlation. The step 5 is these 10 items that are highly correlated to their total score exhibits an alpha of 0.85. So it was used as a shortened version of the original scale. So in the original version, there is 46 items that are very high item total correlation. And among these 46, we have found 10 items that are very highly consistent. So we have found we assess the Cronbach's alpha of these 10 items and have done the inter-item correlation in order to check the correlation within these items among 10 items. And then we have found the Cronbach's alpha of these 10 items is 0.85. So we have made two questionnaires. One is with 46 items and another is with the shorter version of this questionnaire, that is with 10 items, and it has the Cronbach's alpha of 0.85. Clear? Is it clear?
Clear.
Okay. Sir will show you how to do this internal consistency, how to check it, and how to do this Cronbach's alpha with our statistics. Sir, are you there?
Yeah, I am here. I am following.
Okay, sir. So I'm stopping the share.
Okay. So Rekha, is it clear? Anindita, Roman,
Yes, sir.
One
is
question,
it
sir.
clear?
Yes,
One
sir.
question. One
Clear,
question.
sir.
Okay.
One question.
Mona Lisa, is it clear to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, it seems Roman has a question.
Yes, Roman, please tell.
Yeah, from 55 now we took 46, and from that also we took 10.
Yes.
So what about the 46? We are not checking all 46 items. You see?
Yes, in the first stage, we have made 55 items in the pro-environmental attitude questionnaire, and we have done item total correlation and Cronbach's alpha. We examined the Cronbach's alpha, and that was 0.85 at first. And we have found there are 9 items which have very low, very poorly consistent. We have found it from the item total correlation. So we removed these 9 items which are very poorly consistent. So we get 46 items, and the 46 items have very high item total correlation. Among these 46 items, again we find 10 items that are very high consistent, very highly consistent with the total scores. So we extract these 10 items and again we examine the Cronbach's alpha and have done the item total, inter-item correlation in order to check the correlations within these items. And again, we found that the item total correlation is very high. So we have took these 10 items as the shorter version of the original one. And the original one contains the 46 items finally, and the shorter version contains 10 items. Here.
So we can use both to measure,
Yes.
it's possible. Okay. Okay.
Ma'am, so we can
Yes.
say that the items which are highly correlated, we can draw a short version of the scale this way.
Yes, we can. If we find out that the some of these items are have very highly consistent with the total scores.
Yes.
That means the item total correlation is high. We can use it for the shorter version of it. You have to check the item total correlation for that, and have to check the Cronbach's alpha again of this.
Okay, ma'am. One more question is related to this one. That how many questions are required to have a short form of any questionnaire?
I think
More
there
than
is no
one.
limit. More than one.
More than one, okay, sir. Because I have seen a life satisfaction scale developed by Diner. So it is
Yeah,
consisting
5
of
items are
5
there.
items. Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
yes,
this query generated from that only.
Yes, yes.
yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because the assumption is these 5 items, they are interrelated with each other.
Yes, highly interrelated.
Yes. So
Yeah.
that is the point.
They are supporting
Since
each
it is
other.
interrelated, so we can say there is the internal consistency is there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Roman, do you have the toothpaste at your house?
What?
Roman,
Yes.
do you have toothpaste?
Not clear. What?
Toothpaste, toothpaste. Do you have toothpaste? Okay, Rekha, do you have toothpaste?
Yes, sir. I have 3 toothpaste.
Toothpaste.
Yes, sir. One for me, one for my husband, and one for my child. We are using different toothpaste for 3
Okay,
persons.
okay, okay, okay. Anindita, do you have toothpaste?
Yes, sir.
How many?
Just one, sir.
Just one. Okay. So, Roman, how many?
Sorry, it's not audible. Would you write in chat box?
Oh, Anusri, please write down.
Yes, sir.
Mona Lisa, how many toothpaste do you have? Mona Lisa, are you here?
2 toothpaste, sir. 2.
Two. Okay, two toothpastes. Okay. Rosmal, how many?
1, sir.
One. Anusri?
2, sir.
Two. Yes. Okay. And do you use this toothpaste regularly in the early morning?
Yes, sir.
So, Rekha, at what time you use the toothpaste?
Sir, 7:30.
7:30. Anindita?
Every day at 5:30 in the morning, sir.
5:30. You are
Yes.
early riser.
I have to get to work, sir, so I have to wake up early.
Oh, acha. Anusri?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
At what time you are using toothpaste?
7.
7. Rosmal?
7 or maybe it becomes 7:15, sir.
Okay. So, 2 items I have received. Number 1, do you have the toothpaste? Yes, I have the toothpaste. Number 2,
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I
yes,
understand
you
now.
have.
2 times.
Yes, toothpaste. How many you have, Roman?
Yeah, 2.
2. Okay.
Means for only for me. For me?
No, it's for you. Okay.
Yeah.
2. Okay, okay. So what we have noted, 2 items are there. The first item is, do you have the toothpaste? Yes, I have. Second item, do you regularly use toothpaste? Yes. Okay. So what will be the alpha? If I want to calculate the alpha value, then what will be the alpha value?
Would
Anindita?
you repeat?
The value will be pretty high, sir, because most people who have answered yes, they have a toothpaste will more likely be able to use it regularly.
So value will be 1, right?
Yes, sir.
Value will be 1. And if I find that is some respond, okay, we have the toothpaste, but we are not regularly using, then what will be the convex alpha?
It will slightly reduce from 1.
No,
No?
no, it will
Not
be maybe
clear.
0.2, 0.3. Okay,
Not clear, sir.
is it clear?
Oh, no, it's not clear.
Anindita,
Yes, sir.
suppose 10 people are there and you ask these two questions and everybody says yes, then the convex alpha will be 1. And if out of the 10, at least 7 told you, no, I have the toothpaste, but I am not regularly using the toothpaste. Okay, then what will be the convex alpha?
Then it will be very low, sir.
Very low. Okay, that means if the item response is ambiguous in nature, okay, if the item response is ambiguous in nature, then what will happen? You will get the low convex alpha. Okay. So that is the most important part in convex alpha. Two things are important. Number one, the items should be related with each other. And the second one, that is your sample should be heterogeneous in nature. If your sample is totally homogeneous, then what will happen? There will be no question of testing the reliability, because everyone will give you the same response. Okay, that means there is no individual difference in there. So what is important? That is, you have to find out the individual difference in response. Is it clear or any question?
I have a doubt, sir.
Sure, Anindita.
So when we are constructing a tool,
Yeah.
we'll first begin with a homogeneous sample, right, sir?
No.
Not
For
necessary.
example, you want to assess, you want to construct the tool for measuring anxiety. Okay. So you have to collect the data from some people who are not very much anxious, and some people who are very anxious, and some people who are moderately anxious. Okay.
Oh, okay, sir. Got it, sir.
Got it. Then your distribution will not be skewed distribution.
Yes, sir. Got it,
If
sir.
your distribution is skewed, then you will be in trouble. Okay.
Understood, sir.
Thank you. So now I am coming to the art studio. So here you will find one questionnaire. It is measuring the value. Okay. The value questionnaire I have given to you now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the self-awakening, emotional control, to active. So the 14 items are there. Okay, and these items are in rating scale. Okay, so it ranges from 1 to 5. Is it clear to all of you? So if you write summary, Juhi 1.
Sir, please share your screen?
Oh, sorry. I'm writing again. Okay. So that is one data set. The name is Juhi1. Okay. And there you will find the 14 values. And these values are in rating format. Okay. Therefore, if I can calculate the summary, I find that is the maximum score is 5 everywhere. Okay. And the minimum score is 1. But in case of the self-awakening, minimum score is 3. Okay. Because it is 5-point rating scale, range from 1 to 5. I can test it. Last time I have told you how to calculate the box-Fisker plot. So you will find that is the box-Fisker plot. Okay. That is the rating from 1 to 5. So this part is very clear to all of you. Now, my purpose is to find out the Cronbach's alpha. Okay. Then what I have done, and I am writing that is the library psych package and then alpha and bracket is Juhi 1. So if I do this, then I find the Cronbach's alpha is 0.54. Is it clear to all of you? Hello.
Got
So
it, sir.
this is the 0.54. Okay. That means the reliability is moderate. Okay. And what is your intention? Your intention is to enhance the reliability. Then what is important? What Onu and Rose told you, that is the item total correlation should be high. Okay. So I have noted that is the, what is the item total correlation? So this is the data. Okay. So if I put all the data here, I can make one vector. Juhi dot alpha equal to alpha. Oh. Okay, it does not work. Okay. Okay, it is an action key. Okay, forget about it. So I have noted that is the alpha. So this is the value So how many values are above 0.45? How many values are there? Anindita, please you write down. Active, resolute, self-understanding, emotional control. Okay. So I find four items are there that is above 0.45. So this 0.45 is just our assumption, that the criteria. So I can take only these 5 items. Sorry, these 4 items, right? Juhi 4. Data dot frame. Then I can go for, can you tell me what is the item? Highly correlated. I have told you now.
I noted down 3, sir. I left out one. I was unable to catch it. But I have written down active, resolute, self-control.
Yes, one sec. Resolute.
Yes.
So what is resolute? Comma. So I am getting this data. So this one item. Next one active, right?
Yes, sir.
Active. And next one self-understanding.
Self-control. Self-control, sir.
Self-control is not there. I think self-understanding. Is there any self-control?
Oh, yes, sir. Here, Mona Lisa has posted in the chat, sir. Self-understanding and emotional control. Sorry.
Self-understanding. So that is the variable. Okay. Another one?
Emotional control.
Emotionally control. Are you sure?
That's what Mona Lisa posted in the chat, sir. I
Yes.
did not catch the 4th one.
Yes, this is the 0.46. Okay, so emotionally control. We can take the emotionally control. Correct. That means the item total correlation is high here. Thank you, Mona Lisa. So how many items I received? 4 out of 14. Okay. Then I am writing alpha bracket Juhi 4. Okay. So that is the beauty. Now you find that is your standardized alpha 0.68. So it is almost, earlier it was 0.54. Okay. Now it becomes 0.68. So if I am interested to increase the number of items, another one you will find that is the correlation between the item total correlation for the resolute is 0.81. Item total correlation is 0.81. And earlier it was 0.60. Okay. And I like to add this systematic also. It is 0.45. Okay, so 0.45 we can accept 0.45 and 0.45 above. So what we can do? we can increase the what I have told you, 0.45. Which variable?
Systematic, sir.
Yes, systematic. So I have taken systematic also. কোথায় গেল? হ্যাঁ। So I have taken 5 items. Now I want to check what is the alpha. Earlier one 0.68. So now I find that is the convex alpha become 0.7. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
what we can consider, so we can consider these 5 items because here the convex alpha is 0.7. Okay. Now, so this is a trial and error. So if we think that is if we want to change the criteria, so what is the criteria? Criteria will be, so 0.43 also there and 0.44 is there. Okay, so suppose I am interested to take the 0.44 also. Okay, is it clear? And the self-awakening. So we can check that is whether the convex alpha enhanced or not. If not enhanced, then we will stop. So I have taken at least the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So at least 50% cover. So now I want to check what is the alpha value. So now alpha value is less. Okay, so we should not take those data. Is it clear?
yes, sir.
So since alpha value is less, that means they are not good items. Okay, so they can affect the other items. So it is better not to take. So we can limit up to the up to the 5 items. Okay. Then at least we will get better item total correlation. So here you will find the item total correlation is high. So we can consider only these 5 items because the convex alpha will be 0.7. So if we want to add some more items, then convex alpha will be less. Why? Because the item total correlation is less than 0.45. Okay. So now you have understood. Is it clear to all of you or any question? Hello.
Clear, sir.
Clear, sir.
Okay. So what we have understood, that is a convex alpha depends upon the item total correlation. Okay. Now here you will find there is a number of items. One has asked this question. That is the number of items. So if I want to increase the number of items, but the item total correlation is low, then what will happen? Convex alpha will be seriously affected. Okay, so number of items is not the main thing. So suppose you want to take only the two items. Let's see, there is only two items are there, resolute and active. Okay, and these two items are highly related, we find. So if we can take these two items, then what will happen? Now you will find the standardized alpha is very low, 0.59. Okay, so what we have understood, that is the number of items is not the important factor. So what is important factor? Item total correlation and inter-item correlation also. If I write down core, then resolute, comma, active. So I find the correlation is 0.42. Okay. So inter-item correlation is 0.42. Is it clear? But if we want to find out the item total correlation, then what we can do? We can take this Juhi 2. So that is a row-wise sum. Now, if I write down COR, So now it's a very interesting point. Resolute and active, they are interrelated with each other. The relationship is very low. But when they are relating with their total score, then we find the correlation is very high. Okay. That is 0.8 and 0.87. So this is all about the story. Any
Sir,
question?
yes, sir. I have a question.
Sure.
Suppose, sir, we will decide about item according to the dimensions or according to the items. Because suppose I am going to measure 3 dimensions related to a construct. So accordingly, I have to at least one item should be there in each dimensions. Or
Yeah,
domain.
that should be.
Okay, sir.
That should be.
Okay, so at least one item should be there. Okay.
One without one item, how can you measure?
And so suppose
So you
what,
have to take it at least the 5 items, minimum 5 items. So total will be the 15 items.
minimum 5 item for one dimension.
For one dimension.
Okay, sir.
Because if you do the item analysis, then maybe the 3 items will be rejected. Or maybe the 5 items, everyone will stay. We do not know now.
Okay, and if the all the 5 items of a particular dimension they are rejected, it means we have to delete that dimension.
Yeah, definitely. That means you are not able to tap that particular dimension. One possibility. Another possibility, maybe from whom you have collected the data, that sample does not have that particular characteristics.
Okay, that is why they have not responded to the.
Yes, their response is ambiguous.
Okay.
And number 3, there is another possibility that the data were not collected properly.
Okay. Okay.
So there are a lot of possibilities for the low convex alpha.
Yes, sir.
So you must be very cautious in your sampling design.
Okay, sir. And sir, may I ask about the sample size?
Sample size is not very much important. Important part is sample distribution. Suppose you have collected data from the 1,000 population or the 2,000 people.
Okay.
But your distribution is skewed.
Yes.
Then what will happen?
So it is not normally distributed.
If it is not normally distributed, if the distribution is highly skewed, then what will happen? You do not find any good correlation.
Yes, yes. So those items will not work for me in developing that questionnaire.
Yeah, that is the factor. So you have to find out, that is the item total correlation. That is the most important part. And the item correlation also.
Item, yes.
That is inter-item correlation.
Yes, internal consistency. Yes.
Is it clear now or any question?
It's clear, sir, up to now.
Very good. Anindita?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Roman, is it clear to you?
One question is,
Sure.
when we reject the item, the item that brings a change in a total item. So we can discard that item, and can we add other item instead of this discarded item? Is it possible?
You can modify the item. You can modify the item. Okay.
Okay.
But sir, if we modify that item, we have to again go to the responses. And I think this is better one that we pick up those items which are highly correlated. So we
Now
can.
you think that is how many times Bineshimo intelligent test has been revised? How many times? Huh? And still we are also revising the ways. Now Piastran is revising the test.
Yes, sir.
So it does not mean your test is the final.
Yes, sir. It is a like the always there is a scope for improvement.
Sure. Always go. And Cronbach's alpha will give you some insight. And where in you can improve the instrument. Which item will be rejected and which item will stay. Okay. For example, you are interested to assess the emotional regulation of schizophrenia.
Sorry, before that, sir. Before that.
Emotional regulation of schizophrenia.
Before-
Suppose you are interested. Schizophrenic patient, any idea, Roman?
Oh, before that, before this idea, I have a question. We
Okay.
are checking the reliability by before disseminating the whole questions. I think so. That means during pre-test. Is it during pre-test?
No, it is not the issue of pre-test or post-test.
I mean, we have to.
It is not the issue of pre-test, post-test. You can take the data once. So there is no question of pre-test, post-test.
Now my question is, we have to check before we disseminate all questions for our total sample. Is that not?
Yeah, that is true. So initially you have to chase, you have to find out.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So I think there is no such question.
No questions.
Okay. So Mona Lisa, please start the prayer.
Okay, sir. Please close your hands. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnascha Purnamadaya Purnameva Basisyate Om Santi Santi Santi.
Thank you. So please open your video. We'll take one photo. Roman, Anindita, Unusri, Mona Lisa, please open your video. Roman, Unusri,
Sir, 1 minute.
Anindita looks like Bengali lady. No? Total features, just Bengali lady.
Thank you, sir.
If you get chance, you can come to Kolkata.
I will try sometimes.
Sure. Okay, so now I am closing.
Sir, only Bengali people can come and meet to you, sir.
No. I am telling that is you can come. So you means anybody can come
Yes, sir,
there.
my pleasure. And
Yes,
whenever.
sure, Rekha. Rekha, you can come. No problem.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Come,
actually, the problem lies at the corona issue. So if
Yes, sir.
can overcome from this corona, then there will be no problem. I visited several times Chennai, Kerala.
For the record, Rekha ma'am, I am not
I
Bengali.
visited the foreign
Tamilian.
countries also repeatedly. So this corona totally disturbed my.
Yes, sir. It is like disturbing for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
No, I'm telling that is Anindita's facial feature just like
Yes, sir.
Bengali.
Yes, she
It's very
seems.
difficult. Huh?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Actually, there is some relation. I have done one paper, I have published one research paper, and there I have shown that is how Kolkata is close related to the Chennai. I published one research paper. The personality pattern and other things very much close to Kolkata and Chennai. Can you tell me why?
I'm not sure, sir. It's very interesting to hear.
Yeah, the thing is that especially our business, okay, the history says that is people are going to Chennai and the Chennai people are coming to Kolkata. That is a history. And if you follow this British people, initially they captured this South India. After that, they went to Kolkata. So we have the common sea, that is the Bay of Bengal. So all sorts of business, transport, and anything that is between this. Therefore, the marital system also the same. So there is a high possibility that is the personality pattern similarity between the Kolkata and Bengal. Sorry, Kolkata and Chennai, or Tamil Nadu and Bengal. You can think. So you will find. And again, if you want to find out the business, specifically this, you will find lot of the ships from Chennai to Malaysia or Thailand, etc., Sumatra, Java, and also many ships are from Kolkata to Sumatra, Java, Malaysia, etc. So if we can find out some heredity, possibly we will find some hereditary similarity. I have no idea. Maybe some DNA is common.
Possibly, sir.
So based upon the history, I have published research paper. I collected data from both the Chennai people as well as from Kolkata related with the cattle cyst period. And I have shown the personality similarity high between Kolkata and Chennai, and the personality similarity is less between Kolkata and Delhi, Kolkata and Mumbai. Again, the Mumbai and Chennai, these two personality difference is high. Rather, we can say that is a personality similarity almost same in Delhi and Mumbai, because their attitude, their personality And this personality is totally different. So it has a lot of impact on the infrastructure development as well as the maybe the political issue also. One can think about. I have published research paper, it's a long back, maybe 20 or 30 years before.
Altogether, I can say that there is a cultural difference. So
yeah, cultural difference is there, but cultural similarity is also there. So it does not mean totally different. There is some similarity between the two cultures. Maybe the food habit and other things are different, but for example, the coconut tree. Coconut tree very high in Chennai, and coconut tree is also in Bengal. Coconut tree also very high in Kerala also. But our major transport is Bay of Bengal. And people are making a lot of the business by using this transport route. Therefore, there is a high possibility that there is some marital relation between Bengal and Tamil Nadu people or Chennai people. That possibility is there.
Definitely, sir. I think it's also something that we can explore in the future.
So,
yes, sir.
So it's a research, one can do the research. I published the paper, it's a long back.
Sir, it's
Yes, Roma.
interesting history. Thank you very much. But the assignment one assignment is confusing, you know.
Which one?
You gave us on Monday I forgot this. in our studio.
Sir, that is about making the box plot, scatter plot, and
Yeah.
best fit line.
Yeah, especially when when there are two subjects. Sir already shown us only in one item or in one subject, but you gave us physics and the maths. These are two subjects, so it's difficult for me how to compute.
Why not? It is very simple. It is very simple. I have given you all the R script also. So it is only the two sets of data, physics and mathematics, nothing. So the correlation you can test. Anindita responded. So all things are there. So if you follow the YouTube video, you will get all the information. And Onusri, Rosmal, they can guide you. Okay. Okay, so we spent a lot of time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sure, thank you.